Hello everyone, welcome to today's class. We are still on percentage as a topic. Before we continue what we have for today, let us look a little about the concept of reverse percentage. Okay, you might have seen that in a textbook, especially in Cambridge curriculum, IGCSE and checkpoint questions. Okay, they won't, of course, come out explicitly and say this a reverse percentage. But if you check in your textbook, you must have seen reverse percentage. What we call reverse percentage is something that we have already discussed, which is uh, the increase and decrease of percentage or percentage increase and decrease. Now, when we do this thing in different ways, we call them different names. Okay, so I'm going to show you, or I'm going to solve a couple of questions, or let's say one question at least, on reverse percentage. So the example you are seeing on the board is a question that requires reverse percentage. Okay, so there are different ways you can solve this. If you look at this question very well, you can see that, or you will notice that we can actually use the increase and the percentage decrease to solve this problem. How can we solve this problem? We first of all ask ourselves, this what is the total? We don't have the total number of questions, but we know that this person answered 23 questions correctly, and that 23 questions simply means the 92% of the total question. Okay, so why can't we just find the total question, the total number of questions, then we now find the number that he answered wrongly? Okay, so how are we going to solve that? Ask ourselves, what is it? We don't know the total number of questions, but we know that 100% is the total number of questions. Okay, so of questions, so total number of questions, we don't know it. Let's call it X. Correct question or correct answers. Let's We know that one as 23. Then wrong answers. Let's call it Y. But we know that from here, we can say that 23 plus Y is equals to X. So the number of correct answer or correct answer is equals to the total times the percentage of correct answer. So with that, we know that here is 23 equals to X times the percentage of correct answer is 93%, which is 93 over 100. Okay, let's do that first here. Okay, so with that, we can say that uh, 23 is equals to X times 93 over, oh, not 93, please, that's 92 over 100. So with this now, we can say that X, or 23 times 100 over 92, is equals to X. So with this way, we can be able to find the total number of questions. Then we now say that uh, we now, from there, with this equation here, we can now be able to use that to find the value of Y, which is the number of questions the person got wrong. Okay, so let's solve this. This will give you 2300 over 92 equals to X. Therefore, X is equal to, so when you use your calculator to divide this is what you have. Now that we have 25 questions that the person answered, okay, and 23 of them correctly, it simply means that the wrong answers is equals to 25 minus 23, which will give us two questions. Okay, so it's just two questions that the person uh, answered wrongly. So which is about 8% from what we can see there. All right, so let's solve another example following the same way to solve and see how we can go about that. So our second question is that a car loses 55% of its value after 4 years if its cost is $22,500 when new. What is the value after the 4 years? So you can see that if you have been following this series of percentage as a topic, you must have noticed that we have solved a problem of this nature, but not exactly like this. Okay, so we are still going to solve it the way we solved the previous example. So any question that is of this nature is regarded as a reverse percentage. So let us solve that. Remember, what we normally do that the new amount, okay, let me use A2 is equals to the old amount times the percentage factor or a multiple of the factor of the percentage. Now that is depends on this depends on whether it's increasing or decreasing. So when it's increasing, we do 1 plus the percentage, okay? When if it's reducing, we do 1 minus the percentage. So in this case now, we expect a reduction, which is the percentage decrease. So we are going to do 1 minus the percentage. So that will be times 1 minus the percentage of reduction. Okay, we are trying to find this A2, okay, which is the new value. Therefore, A2 is equals to the original amount, which is $22,500 times 1 minus the percentage reduction, which is 55%. Okay, so that will give us 22500 times, let's take care of this, 1 minus 55%. Remember that 55% is equal to 0.55. So 1 minus 0.55 will give us 0.45. So when you multiply this, that will give you 10,125. So you can conclude is a word problem. So you can't leave your answer this way. So you have to write out your answer. Therefore, the value after 4 years is $10,125. Okay, so that's the value of the car after 4 years if it loses 55% of its value for that particular 4 years. All right, so what we have done now is reverse percentage. You can see that reverse percentage is not different from what we know or what we have done under percentage increase and decrease. Okay, so the next thing we are going to look at that is also important aspect of percentage is compound percentage. Okay, what do we mean by compound percentage? We are going to talk about that now. So in compound percentage is not different from what we have been doing. The only thing now is that there is a constant percentage increase in a particular interval. What am I trying to say? If we keep increasing a particular value at a particular percentage, okay, or maybe for over time, for over a particular interval, let's say 4 years, okay, or 5 years, or 12 months, or 6 weeks, okay. So the final value can also be calculated or can actually be calculated using compound percentage. How do we solve a problem on compound percentage? So what you are seeing on the board is what we normally use to solve a problem on compound percentage. So I'm going to explain everything you have there. Now, this is the new amount or new value. Okay, this is the original, which is the previous amount of value. Now, what you are seeing inside, you are seeing plus or minus. That depends on whether there is a percentage increase or percentage decrease. Okay, in compound percentage is not necessarily going to be increase all the time. It can be percentage decrease, maybe a particular percent reduction. Now, that's what we have here. So it can be plus, it can be minus. So we have 1 plus or minus the percentage. So whether it's percentage increase or percentage decrease, then n is the number of interval. This number of interval can be years, can be months, can be weeks. Okay, so it depends on the question or depends on how you are calculating your problem. Now, this is what we have. Let's take one example and use this and solve and see how we can be able to solve that. Look at the question we have here. We say that the mass of a baby is 4 kg. Each month, the mass of the baby is increases by 15% of its mass from the previous month. Find the mass of the baby after 2 months. Now, this is a typical example of a compound percentage. Okay, what does that mean? After the end of this month, the 15% of its mass will be added to the mass of the baby. Then the next month, another 15% of the mass of the baby at the end of that particular month. Okay, so will be added. Now that's how we, or that's the kind of problem that lead us to compound percentage. So compound percentage, we can actually use this and solve. So in this case, we have increase in percentage. So let's calculate what we have inside here. So 1 plus the percentage is going to give us 1 plus 15%, and 1 plus 15% will give us 1 plus 15 over 100. That will give us 1.15. So this is the percentage, what we have inside this bracket. So imply that A2, in this case now, we have M2 equals to M1 into 1 plus the percentage N. Of course, N equals to 2 because we are dealing with 2 moles. That will give us M1, which is the mass where we started from. That will give us 4 into what we have here is 1.15 into N. Okay, so 4 times 1.15 square, use your calculator, you will get 1.3225. Then when you multiply this value by 4, you have 5.29. Okay, so you conclude your answer. Therefore, the mass of the baby after 2 months will be 5.29 kg. That is how we solve that problem. So we call it compound percentage. Please remember that this thing can also be percentage decrease. Okay, if it's percentage decrease, instead of doing 1 plus 15%, we are going to do 1 minus 15%. So whatever you have here, we'll put it inside this bracket and take our power, then multiply by the original value. Okay, so this is where we are going to end our class today on reverse percentage and compound percentage. See you in the next class. Thank you.